We have a bunch of new proposals. Um, and okay, well, okay, so welcome to the council meeting. This um, we're just getting started. As I mentioned, it's October 1st, so this is really when our grants program begins. We have a number of new proposals that have been submitted, and we're now going to talk about some of them, and an updated tracker that's available to anyone in the VoIP community will be circulated shortly. So yeah, Wilder, why don't you take it away?
Thank you. So, in the proposal forum, which everybody has access to, there is a proposal out from Pact Humble called DeFi Incentives, and this proposal is structured around a target APR on USD and a Voy pairing on Humble, so native to Voy. And this proposal is structured in a way that it's competitive with other chains' DeFi incentives, while also making sure that we don't have ridiculous APRs or unreliable APRs. So it's focused on someone who wants to come into the Voy ecosystem, have a little bit less than, let's say, a full risk on position where they're liquidity providing. So yes, they will have some impermanent loss, but they'll have a nice APR between 27 and 45, hitting a very large TVL. I would encourage everybody who's watching this call to go and check out that proposal. Share your thoughts. This is a proposal that I would love to see passed as soon as possible. As soon as Shelly's got Humble live, I know they're ready to go, and I think this is going to be something that gets the trading envoy um, really firing off and laying the base for our DeFi ecosystem. So I encourage everybody to check that out. I think it's thoughtful and it's exciting. It'll be our first step into the arena of attracting people from other chains to Void because the opportunity is better, and when they learn about our message, what Void is all about, they can also start earning on Void as well, which I think is an important piece.
Brilliant. Yeah, I really want to see this thing pass as well. I think we need to have the liquidity incentives on Humble on Boy, so that people have a reason to bridge over USDC and other assets, and then it enables people to obviously make purchases of Boy on Humble on Boy. So yeah, I think this makes sense. I think the guys done a good job at the way they've structured the proposal and the way that the incentives basically rise up as the liquidity does too. So it's not going to be, it just makes sense. People are getting rewarded relatively to what is actually in circulation on the dexes themselves. So I can't see any reason why we wouldn't want this. And I think it's going to play a critical part in getting some more tokens bridged over to Voy and just kind of bootstrapping the DeFi ecosystem.
Yeah, what you touched on with the more the TVL grows, the better the APR is. I could see this turning into a like tell your friends about it because it's better for you the more people who are coming in and providing TVL. So I think it has some natural mechanisms which makes some sense to me, and I think it's also responsible with how it's using it's set to APR, not just a flat amount in a contract. So it also provides that control. And there's also some mechanisms where it's in the proposal where we can modify things if the proposal's not going in the right direction. So for Voyagers who see the big ask of 30 million tokens, we're looking at a year-long proposal, and you can see all the projections there. But I just want everyone to feel comfortable that we're still in control. It's not just out in the wild, and I think Shelly is very capable of executing a airdrop style uh, LP farming program. He made the contract, so I think he's gonna do a great job with that if we enable him to.
Cool, Wilder.
I could talk about the marketing ones as well. I think there's two good community ones. I don't want to. If anyone else, please raise your hand or something at me, and I'll throw tomatoes at me if you want me to stop going through them. But yeah, the there's so we have two right now. One's from Super Synapse, who wants to do essentially a refresh on the how to run a node. And I think this can serve as a video guide for somebody who comes into Voy, and instead of the steps they needed to follow to be a like phase one participant where they needed to get telemetry on, this can be geared more towards how do I get my staking online and make people who come into the ecosystem have an official Voy YouTube video that takes them from zero to hero. They can do it all. They know how to run a node. They're confident that their stakes online. And I think it's great to have video documentation, but I suspect this is going to drastically cut down on the messages because we see a lot of the same things being answered. And I think video content for this could make that could alleviate a lot of that pressure, as well as providing what I consider like a very fundamental thing that people want to learn about. So the proposal right now is for off one-click node, which is the most accessible way to run a node. But I'm in the comments asking, can we have something that is focused on voice swarm as well? Because in my mind, this should be tied to having like how do you get a staking contract online? And I think if that's all in videos, or if that's maybe two different videos, either way, I think it's great that we build up high quality content on Voy's official YouTube channel.
I think I agree. I think that high quality content is good. I don't think OST one click node is by far from the most highest priority thing to do um, at all. We have enough nodes. I think it's more about walking people through how to get to Voy, how to actually to bridge it over, how to actually stake it, and then maybe we can talk about actually staking on a node. So yeah, I think that I agree that video content is important. Um, I don't know if it's actually lays out the payment structure in this, if this is something like they wanted Voy up front, or if this is something that can be done over time, or what the story is there. But um, yeah, that's overall, I think it's good.
I know that we can like I talked to Synapse. I encouraged him to submit this proposal, so I know that he just wants to make videos that we all find useful. So I do agree with you on the off one click node. I think people who do want to do it are going to be voice swarm, but I also recognize what you're saying. It's probably the step two. We need the step one first, which is how do you get to Voy? So what I'll do is I'll reach out to him. I think this proposal can stay in the forum and get modified, but I'll follow up with like a second proposal that's focused on how to get to Voy. So that can include Airmid Bridge, it can include dexes, and serve as a way to take somebody through the whole experience, start to finish, from whatever chain they're coming from, Base, Arbitrum, Elgrand.
Honestly, I think that's even better than any type of node documentation. Documentation on how to delegate appropriately. Because there's a lot of people that will run nodes for people that would be happy to actually to let people stake on their node. I mean, Thorpe was doing it for no reason. I don't know why. He was doing it on an one click node, which I don't like, but whatever. But having actually like instructions on how to delegate appropriately would be, I think, it's much less of a hurdle for somebody to get that extra bonus without having to run a node.
Yeah, I think it's going to make sense to have like a kind of the what the logical flow of video creation is. So, I mean, we're making the most important video in like we're organizing the videos being made based on what we need immediately, which makes the most sense instead of just the the shoot your shot approach right now in the proposal forum. So I'll reach out to him and see if he's willing to get started on that kind of like a spreadsheet or a doc that can lay out the most needed videos being made before the ones that aren't. And I do know I don't know how I don't have numbers on his turnaround, but based on conversations, I think we could expect the first video to come within the next 2 to 3 weeks. But Synapse, if you're watching this, I'm not trying to speak for you. This is just what I've gathered. I know you take time with with your scripting and everything. It's a high quality video, but I expect this to be under a month. So whatever our first video is, we can. I'm sure he's going to make that once we all come to an agreement on what we want that first piece of content to be. Um, and I can segue this into Shelley Mays, who also has a proposal for video content. Henrik, do you have something you want to add before I move on?
Just I don't know, like an observation. I think it would be good to have some hard metrics with regards to how many views these videos will drive and what that will be. The testnet videos had about 3,300 views, roughly. So if we just assume the same, which is obviously not the right assumption, but if the cost is $2,500 and there's 3,300 views, that is a cost of $1.32 per view. And so my question is more about how many views will these videos drive, and what would be a fair amount for whatever people we get into this funnel, like in the customer acquisition cost, essentially. Like what would be reasonable, what is the target, and what's sustainable.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to judge it as well. Like to just, and this is the next proposal, the Shelley May, and that's where I got Zero to Hero from. Is her proposal. She's included those metrics. So for her videos, which I believe come out to a little bit under, it's still quoted 10,000 for 4 videos, but for that 2,500 price, she's expecting between 10 to 40,000 views with 30 to 60,000 impressions and 400 to 1K readers on Medium. So definitely a larger outreach. And I think the only consideration there is this is content that goes on her YouTube channel, and what Synapse is talking about is stuff that becomes voice content. But I think that's a smart way to think about $1 per view. But I feel like both of these are things we should pursue more because they're hitting a little bit of different audiences. But that's good feedback to have in the proposal form.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely important to consider it's kind of like comparing apples and oranges between the two. Obviously the views are important, but I wouldn't expect synapses to get that same reach, because obviously their focus is more on educating people on how to basically walk through the pipeline, which is going to come down to basically how many people we can push through the pipeline. So I do see them as, views definitely important, just as a good metric. But I do think for any kind of educational content, especially stuff that's hyper focused to our community and to our products and ecosystem, I wouldn't expect it to drive as big of a return in terms of like cost per view, so to speak. But these are still metrics we should track and compare against for sure.
Well, those are those are the 3 proposals I'm most excited about. There are a lot in the proposal forum this morning, so maybe I've taken all the fun ones to talk about. But does anybody else have other ones they'd like to discuss right now?
I guess the only other proposals which are kind of high priority is going to be relay runners, moderators, ambassadors, just because obviously at the end of the month, we need to fund their compensation contracts. So those are some critical proposals that we need to get over the line. I'm sure everybody wants to know what their relay rewards are going to equate to. And I think, not only that, but I mean, we 100% need to have these done in time for us to basically launch the contracts. So those are certainly some top priority proposals in my eyes, because there is a very hard deadline at the end of the month. But beyond that, I think what I would love to see is more what I'm just going to keep calling initiative proposals, which are very much like that DeFi bootstrapping one. I think these kinds of things are going to be very, very important for us, and we just need to kind of get them operational. But that's my thoughts in terms of the proposals. It's over to you, Shanti.
Okay. Um, okay, so proposals, and now we're in the last 15 minutes, we're just at the open floor. If anyone has topics they want to bring up that aren't necessarily related to the proposals, but anything else.
I have some community shout outs, but I gotta find my list.
All right. Well, while you look for your list, I think something we can all talk about and decide upon and kind of work out a solution to is how do we get our community on Twitter? I think that is something that, that's not going to come from marketing. It's not going to come from proposals. It's not necessarily something that's relevant to what we typically talk about in these calls. But I think it is an important thing because it's very much about the community. And the bottom line is how do we get our community to be louder outside of Discord? I think it's fantastic that we have such a large and active community in Discord. Like it's probably one of the busier Discords out there, but that obviously needs to translate externally to again just help on the marketing efforts and help get people in the door. So that's something that if anyone has any ideas, I think if we've got this open floor now, it could be a good thing to talk about. I know, I can kick us off, I suppose. I think some good things is having, one thing that Haruf has already started on, which is great to see, is a bit of a rating group, which is just full of like a few different voyages. And whenever there's like a KOL post that is or pertains to us, if it's talking about decentralization or community and these sorts of things, that's proven already very effective where people can kind of pile in. I think the more people that can join into those sorts of groups makes a lot of sense. It's just an easy way for people to, find the tweets where they should be commenting on and just screaming and shouting. I think that's definitely proven effective. But then the question is, well, how do we then get people in the Discord onto Twitter and into these groups in the first place? Is it just manual outreach and conversations with people in the Discord? Does there need to be some kind of incentive structure in place here? What does that look like? I'd just be curious to hear other people's thoughts. Yeah, I think that'd be great.
I think this also brings up that right now in the proposal forum, we don't have anybody who's a representative of the ambassadors, and it seems like Haruf's kind of naturally filling that role right now, and he's put in a lot of time into that. So I think this is something we could also get a proposal together. So first of all, we need one by the 28th for the already existing ambassadors, but we can open this up to a maybe its own channel in Discord, just like how moderators, relay runners, these other service providers have their own dedicated space. We can open up the ambassador section a little bit more and start some brainstorming there with the community. But I think daytime spaces would be great, but also a little more structure and openness to how the ambassador program is working right now, because I think it's a little bit of here, get into the rating group, and it's not someone in Discord to be able to bring someone from Discord back to X. I think we need to facilitate that a little bit better. I think we've lost Benny for the response to that, but I'll take this opportunity to do some shout outs. Um, First of all, huge shout out to Ludo. He spent many weeks dealing with my constant pings, DMs, nagging him nonstop. Do this, please change this. He very responsive, very patient sometimes when I was asking him to do something that didn't need to be done, and it was just my misunderstanding. So Ludo's amazing. So happy that he's engaged with Voy, and he's an amazing community member. Um, the Aramid testing squad who showed up Sunday after Sunday, sending me bug reports sometimes for 5-hour blocks. Jody P was that person, but the usual suspects were Jody P, Haroof, Charles Spirit, and David Undersky. They answered the call. They did an amazing job, and it was only because we had this community support that we were able to refine so much of the Aramid Bridge and get people talking about it in a very positive way on X and really be embraced by the greater community. So huge shout out to those four. And finally, Zardoz, who stepped up for the DeFi community, and he helped structure the farming squad. Andrew played a big role in this as well, but it's going towards one of his platforms, so I can understand why he'd be so involved. But I thought it was great that Zardoz was showing up to the meetings and got his hands dirty with it. So yeah, just super proud of all those Voyagers. I know there's a lot of other ones. I was just heads down focused on the bridge for the last week, so this is like the group of people I was interacting with the most. But great work, everybody. Did an amazing job.
Thank you, Wilder. Anything else in the last 10 minutes? As Chris said, we're working on a bunch of guides and support materials. So once they're ready, it would be great if, people can look them over and see if they make sense, and provide some feedback to just improve them. Sure, probably win-win. But
I can just add one more thing for those who weren't with us for the first section of the meeting. Just so the community's all aware, we're very focused on marketing efforts right now. So I know there's been some people asking about that. When marketing is a common phrase, and it's being worked on. Like that's one of the focuses. So things we can't talk about publicly right now, but or talk about the specifics right now, but that is a huge focus for the council. So rest assured, we're stepping it up, and we're making moves that are gonna bring more Voyagers in.
okay. Well, thanks everyone. And for anyone that is listening, we have publicly announced the grants program, so all of the materials have been sent in various chats. So even though marketing, yes, it is our bigger focus, if people are interested in the future, I would definitely recommend you just familiarize yourself with the process and also just all of the different types of grants that are available. And if you have questions, you can just, message any of the council members and they will be able to support you. But yes, thank you for your time. And then we will be putting out some support materials for the community soon and would love to get your feedback on whether they're helpful and how we can do a better job. Well, have a good afternoon, everyone, and get 8 minutes back of your time.
Take care,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye.